To order for December 1st. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I don't remember the last time. Thank you all very much. Next order of business shall be the roll call.
David Pruitt, Bart Shockley,
Here.
Tim Turney,
Present.
Ken Winkfield,
Here.
Tandy Pryor.
Here.
We do have a quorum. Next order of business is the minutes from November 3rd, 2025. They have been distributed. For your review, we will accept a motion to approve, deny, or amend as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve November 3rd, 2025 as submitted.
Is there a second?
I second.
Motion is made second. Any discussion, changes? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Public hearing items, we will bring up the one that was tabled last year. Terry Chereau and last month. I get to say that next month. Christopher Baker filed for conditional use permit on a tract land being 0.22 acres located at 202 Grayhawk Court. Steve, would you like to update?
Yeah, I won't go through everything again. This is a tabled item from the prior month. This is the aerial of the property, if you guys remember. Shot of the house, zoning, zoomed out shot of the property. And then the proposed office area where the gun repair business would be located above the garage, and kind of leave it at that. Where we left off last month were a couple items. After we kind of rolled through most of the hearing, there was some discussion whether or not the proposed office area was in compliance with the 300 square foot maximum. That's a requirement for a home occupation. And then there was some discussion about potential chemicals that may or may not be used. And I think you all requested the applicant clarify those issues. And I think there's a list of the proposed chemicals at your seat that were sent to us today that they'd be using in this type of operation. And as far as the square footage went, at that point we weren't sure if we had construction plans, and we talked about meeting the applicant on site, measuring the building, but we found construction plans, and then they came in, sat down with the building inspector and clarified exactly where this home occupation would be, and you guys should have had exhibited that in your packet. We came up with 173 square foot. The applicants came up with a little less because they kind of measured from the inside of the walls, and we used the construction plans and measured from the outside of the walls or edge of the roof line. So, but either way, the square footage is well below the 300 square foot requirement for a home occupation. I don't have anything else to add unless you all need anything. The applicants are here, and I believe they made some slight revisions to their conditions. They're at your seat, as well as they corrected their narrative for that square footage.
Okay. I will go ahead and read these into the record. Is that what you want, just for everybody, because not everybody has a copy? Pardon? The hours of operation will be from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Customer interaction appointment only, typical 1 to 2 customers on site at a time. This is a sole proprietorship. The noise, the power tools such as table saws and drill presses, limited on noise. No firearm discharging will occur on site. Deliveries are via minimum, limited to parts, tools, material via standard carrier, UPS, FedEx, USPS. For security measures, all firearms, flammable chemicals, and ammunition will be stored in a locked safe or secured vault when not in active use. A monitored alarm system shall be maintained at all times. Compliance with firearm security standards. Follow the basic rules of firearm safety. Treat every firearm as if it was loaded. Always check the firearm, handle it accordingly. Always point the muzzle in a safe direction and keep finger off the trigger. That is what they've added, modified for their conditional use. Would the applicants care to speak to this issue, or
Do you have any questions?
Yep. Just state your name.
I'm Christopher Baker.
You turn that on.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm Christopher Baker, named on the proposal. Do you all have any questions for me? I don't have anything otherwise to add.
Board members, questions? I have none. Thank you. Would anyone in the audience care to speak to this?
My name's Skip Chase. I live at 201 Greyhawk Court, 2 houses down from Christopher. And I think it takes a lot of guts to try to become a small business operator. I heard there was some concerns about traffic. I think we have more traffic from UPS and Amazon than we will him starting a business. Another concern was the chemicals used. Well, in the old days, we used nothing but hops and CLP, which are caustic, okay? Now we have Shooter Lube, we have Breakthrough, we made multiple other ones that are not caustic. Another concern I read in the paper, I wasn't here last time because I had the flu, is they have a neighbor with one lung. Well, I'm the guy that has one lung, and I'm all for him having this business.
Thank you. Would anyone else care to speak to this issue?
Kim Collins, I was here last time and spoke. I'd just like to say I don't think it's been addressed that this is going to possibly cause an increase in crime in the neighborhood. It's going to possibly devalue our homes. It's also a safety risk for families next door. Understand Skip is a couple houses down. We're right next door. We have very small children. Their bedrooms are right there. It's, to me as a mom, it concerns me. I'm also concerned that what I was told on my front porch by Susan, who is, I understand, not the applicant, not the homeowner, so she might not know as much what the business is going to be. It was very different than what we were told here in the hearing last time. And so I have a concern that it seems that the business plan changes each time, and I don't think that the restrictions that we have in place are strict enough to ensure that there's not an increased risk for the neighborhood, that it's not going to have a negative impact on the neighborhood. I appreciate the parking restriction that was put in place last time. That will help. But I'd like to propose, if this is going to go through, at least a restriction on the pickup or the drop-off of these weapons potentially being done in a different location so that the check to make sure it's not loaded, to make sure it's not going to go off, is somewhere not in a residential neighborhood with a lot of kids. And that's all I have for now.
Thank you. Would anyone else care to address this board?
My name is Andrew. I live right next door as well to the company, for the gun company. I do agree. It takes a lot of courage for a young man, especially to start a business. It takes a lot to start a business. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of knowledge to do it right, correctly, safely, not to impact the area around you as well as yourself, especially with this business. As I believe on the sheets for chemicals, one of them is bluing, which is EPA regulated. Maybe not. Maybe I misunderstood, but I believe that's on there. It's not so much, there is, parts of, chemical compositions that might be a factor. This one, there is more of like, how is it stored? I mean, whether they're caustic or not is, that's okay. But regardless, they're also flammable, which is not always that fun. One of the other things we didn't really speak about last meeting, but I assume, I'm not sure, but I assume that muzzleloaders would be worked on. I know they're fixing. Are you refurbishing? Was I mistaken?
No. Stop.
I'm sorry.
You don't ask him questions.
Okay,
You ask us
that's fine.
questions.
I'm sorry. I don't know. But yeah, so either way, I guess if they're being fixed for muzzleloader, to shoot it. You don't necessarily have to. There's other ways around it, but you know, to those who've shot them would know that there is gunpowder involved in that. If there is, how is that going to be handled? Even though I know it is a closed off room, there is people that do smoke, so it is a concern. Like I said, oil is flammable, gunpowder is explosive. I haven't heard what the precautions were last time of how they're being stored or disposed of. We also heard, as the previous speaker said, we heard that they were trying to be worked on being shipped to the house directly. So not customers coming to the house, but the guns being shipped to the house.
Can I qualify something? Their conditions that they've placed do not allow shipments of guns.
So they can't do that. Could they do it like to a gun store though, and do it that way? Like pick it up at like Center Fire, for example, for here in town? Could that be considered?
That would be them, but I'm just saying, you said
Okay.
delivered, and
Yeah.
according to their conditions, they're not allowed to be delivered. So that should address that issue.
Gotcha. Understood. All right. So yeah, because we were to understand that there was concerns on their part when they came to the house of this business having a danger factor to it and there being a risk to it. And that's what we were told in person. As we stated, it's a little bit different here. So it's a little, it does raise concern of what exactly is being agreed to on paper. Again, and with the oil, the materials, we have, and this might not be that might be a different meeting for a different area, I don't know. But say if you do have oil, etc., is there an amount that is allowed? Like, is there a certain process that you have to do that for safety precautions? I guess that might go along with storage, disposal. I'm not aware, but again, it is concerns we do have, and that's all I got for that.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone else care to speak to this? Seeing no one rising to speak, we will close this hearing, and we will seek a motion to approve or deny this conditional use permit. And we are free to discuss amongst ourselves any questions or concerns we'll have.
Ask Kevin another question?
Nope,
Nope, okay.
sorry. So we will seek a motion. I think some of their concerns are justified, but I think are addressed in this. The chemicals, as they said, will all stored in a locker safe or secured vault when not in use.
I was just curious, quantities on hand, based on the number of firearms that he would be working on at any given time.
If I remember right from last week, or last month, at any one time, there would be, I go back and look, 3 to 4 firearms
Right.
at most.
Is that a pint, a gallon of these items? That's
I know what I use. I mean, I don't know that's not, but they're typically in little bottles, about this big, maybe if you really use a lot.
so it's not like,
We're not
Drum.
doing 55-gallon drums.
okay.
Mr. Chair, I would suggest that kind of question goes close enough to the heart of the kind of findings we're required to make that it might be worth considering posing the question if it's your pleasure to do so, but.
Okay. Pardon? So, any other questions? So, in one of our, if you were to lean that way, we can put a requirement that it has to be less than X amount. it still has to be stored in their, in their safe with that.
I just don't know enough about gunsmithing and repair to know what an adequate on-hand amount is.
Can we ask him a question?
I would suggest that we do, yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead. As long as I get permission from the attorney.
So, based on the volume you expect to do initially and as you, I guess, grow, what of these items submitted here with these data sheets would you have on hand at any given time, the quantity? Is that in pints, gallons?
I'm not going to need gallons or pints at a time. One of the great luxuries is that we have a gun store in Versailles, and there's gun stores all over the place, and even if there isn't, there's hardware stores that sell this stuff. Right now, I've got a bottle about this big that I keep at my house. I plan on maybe buying I think the most I'd ever buy is probably a 32-ounce bottle, and just, you know, replenish as needed. But it doesn't take very much of this stuff to go through a gun. You dab it on a rag, and it's good for most of the firearm.
And then as you're using it, do you have special ventilation in this area? Because, you know, looking at some of this stuff, it talks about being properly ventilated. Other than just what's normal in a house?
Other than what's normal in the house, no, but I'm not working with none of the chemicals that I work with regularly require it.
A respirator or anything like that?
I have a respirator, but I've never had the need to use it.
Okay. And the quantities are such as if there was a spill, we're not going to see
No.
a toxic cloud over
over
Midway.
It's not
Right. Okay.
nothing like that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Anything else? Not, we will seek a motion to approve or deny this conditional use permit.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve. Let me find it here. All right, thank you. I make a motion to approve the conditional use permit for a home occupation in the existing structure located at 202 Grayhawk Court, along with the applicant's board and agreed upon property condition. I believe that granting this conditional use permit does not substantially conflict with the purposes of the ordinance and will be consistent with the intent for the district in which it is located.
May I suggest adding that 32-ounce requirement, not to exceed?
Okay, yeah. All these chemicals will not exceed 32 ounces on hand at any given time.
Okay. Motion has been made. Is there a second?
A second.
Motion's been made and second. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I would
Where I was going.
Hey,
suggest that we address the findings in zoning ordinance section 4075, which mainly talk about that the use will not be detrimental to public health, safety, or welfare.
Okay, yep.
And I think that's incorporating the applicant findings, that with those proposed conditions, those will act to limit the intensity or the busyness of this home occupation and address the safety concerns that are inherent in firearm handling. That the size constraints that are applicable to home occupations ensure that the number of firearms on site will be akin to or not greatly exceeding the number of guns that an amateur enthusiast might have in their home collection. Are those findings you could address? Okay.
Acceptable?
Yes.
Yes. Motion has been made, seconded with conditions. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Any of those opposed? Motion carries. Second order of business today is Michael Sanders has filed for a variance application on a tract of land being .53 acres located at 206 Galen Drive. Steve?
Yep. So the aerial's up on the screen. This application was filed on October 28th. The applicant's basically asking for a 4-foot rear yard and side yard setback variance for an accessory building. So this is the arrow up there. You can see it's got 3 roads here that says Galen Drive, and West Stevens Street. And then the zoning you see is R1B. This is the exhibit that the applicant turned in that shows kind of way his property lies, and there's a little bit of a, shows where the shed is up there in the top left corner. And these are some pictures. There was one picture in your packet, but I've got several that the applicant turned in. So this is a picture of the building that was constructed, a little stepped out part from the building. Not a great picture, but it's one the applicant submitted themselves. So you can see the building. It was more just a step back, I think, and see the stake in the back. This looks down the side of the property. Again, you guys don't have these in your packet. This looks down the side of the property, shows you how close it is to the fence line, but actually the property line are the pink stakes. So there was, that's where it's a little bit confusing here. It looks like it's 2 or 3 foot from the property line, but it's actually about a foot from the property line. And then that zooms in a little closer there at the ground. This shows the building from the east side. And then this is the Stevens Street side. This is showing the back of the building. Another shot of the back of the building further down the road. And then again, the stakes in relationship to the fence, where the property line is in relationship to actual building. It's interesting to note the building hang to in relationship to that property line. That's why the applicant almost needs about a 0 setback variance here on these accessory building standards. With that, we'll go through the staff report real quick and point out a couple things. Page 2 of the staff report, we're looking at the single-family zone R1B standards, but to actually get the setback requirements for an accessory building, you have to go to Article 5 of the zoning ordinance, Section 504.4. So the setbacks that you see on the bottom of page 2 are for the principal structure or the house. The setbacks for accessory structures that are detached from the principal structure are on page 3 in Section 504.4 for accessory buildings. And what's highlighted in that item B says in all cases the distance shall be at least 5 foot from the side and rear property lines. The variance definitions down there on page 3, and then you turn to page 4, and that's the same exhibit I just showed up on the screen. Shows the building in the corner there in relationship to the principal building. Go to page 6, and we have our variance requirements. Section 406.3, variances are permitted. Section 406.7, what we say are prohibited variances. And then our findings and conditions are on page 7. The findings, 406.5 outlines the authority that you all can attach conditions to any variance. And then the findings necessary under the state law at the bottom of page 7, KRS 100-243 for granting a variance. Again, they're almost verbatim for what is in our ordinance. And then page 8 is KRS 100-247 that basically says in the state law that variance cannot contradict our zoning regulations. And then there's a motion up or down when you guys get to that point. Give you a little bit more of the timeline here, what had occurred. The property owner built a building on this property without a building permit, and then it came to our office. When he found that out, he came in to get a building permit. He didn't know a shed needed a permit of this nature, I guess. That's what he indicated to us. He met with the building inspector, and the building inspector, when he saw it, said it's closer than 5 foot. So you got 2 options, either move it or try to get a variance. So the applicant wanted to try to do the variance because he'd already kind of poured the pad and put the posts in. His choice was to try for the variance as opposed to just scooting the building over 4 foot and 4 foot to try to get the 5 foot setbacks. And it was in the location that he thought best suited the property. So that's why we're here, to ask for the variance. The building's up. And again, the pictures kind of show the relationship of the property line. And again, he did think he had some wiggle room, thinking the fences were the property lines. And when the surveyor actually got out there and marked it, those are the property lines right there. So in a sense, it's pretty much a 4 foot variance on both sides to get him down to that 1 foot or even slightly under that on the back for accessory building in an R1B zone. I think that's it here. Right there, sorry.
Board members, do you have any questions for Steve?
Yeah, if I misstated that back history, I want to correct it there, because that's kind of how it was relayed to me.
Okay. Would the applicant care to speak to this issue?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Okay.
State your name.
I'm sorry. My name is Michael Sanders. And yes, I embarked upon this project so I could get things out of my garage and into a shed, lawn things. I was aware, I've only had a property one time in my life before now, and I was aware of easements and that type of thing, you know, coming in 5 feet, 7 feet or so from your property line for utilities and whatnot. When I bought this property, I mistakenly assumed that the property lines ran to the road. And once this all started, the first thing I did was went and hired a survey company to come and find the stakes, find the posts, and show me exactly where my property lines are. And I was shocked because I felt that any easement on the backside would, because there's 20 feet between the road and that fence. And I would have thought the easement's back there someplace. Well, I was wrong because the property doesn't start until, well, you saw the pink stakes and the right, you know, where that fence is. Had no idea. Had no idea. So I just didn't feel like, you know, I knew I was really close on the side, but again, I ran into the fact that the property line in that case was, it's on my side of that fence and not the other. So I had intended actually to go 5 feet. In fact, when I initially laid it out, it was 5 feet from that fence, but I ran into roots and I kind of moved things a little bit, and then I just didn't take that into consideration as I continued on. So until I saw the survey from the company that I had no idea that I was that close to my property lines on the backside.
Can I have a question?
Yes, sir.
Was a survey before or after you built the building?
I'm sorry, the survey? Oh, after.
After.
Only after I received the thing on the door, the front door, and I think, oh, so I need to come and talk to these people, and that's when I started finding this out, and I'm pleading ignorance, or maybe stupidity, but yeah, that's what caused it. I thought my property lines actually ran, and if you'll notice on that, all the way around, I mean 20 feet from the road, is where my property actually starts. That surprised me.
Yeah, he came right in after the building inspector left the door hanger to get a permit, and then we said, unfortunately, we can't give you a permit because of the location. And then he got a survey so he could verify the stuff we were showing him off the PVA tax map on where we thought the property lines were.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, if I need to make some kind of adjustment, I'll do it, but I'd rather not. So that's why I'm here.
And you
Yes.
poured concrete?
I did.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Does anyone else care, or are there board members, do you have questions? No. Would anyone else care to speak to this issue?
Yeah. Just say I'm a neighbor.
No, you have to say your name.
Okay, have no problem with this building.
Okay, no, you have to state your name first.
Michael Hunter.
Michael Hunter, okay.
Okay. Now, can I say I'm
Say anything you want.
now I can say what I am. Okay.
3.5 minutes.
I'm a neighbor. Building doesn't bother me. It doesn't, I think he had a lot of paperwork signed by surrounding neighbors. He'd have to verify that. But I have no issues with it. I look right at it every day. He's an entry. Him and Dan back here, they're entries. And he takes very good care of it. And it being their backyards, it's difficult, you know, everybody's got a backyard and can do something with it. But his backyard actually faces the road, so he's got to keep it looking nice. So he built a nice shed. I think they're going to paint it green, make it blend in more. But, you know, it fits the neighborhood. It fits, it looks great to me. No issues from this neighbor anyway. Okay, thank you.
Would anyone else care to speak to this issue?
Yes, my name's Danny Smith, and I live at 201 Galen Drive. And I don't want to bore you to death with neighbors, but I am also a neighbor. And I can tell you, Michael and I live just as Galen Drive comes in off of West Stevens. He's on the west side of Galen, and I'm on the east side. And I can tell you that it's not a bother. The only concern that anybody might have would be coming out of Galen and looking to your right and to your left to pull out. And this is far enough away that you have good eyesight. It doesn't present any problem at all.
Thank you very much. Would anyone else care to speak to this issue? Seeing none, we will close this hearing and seek a motion to approve or deny this variance.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion to approve the request for a 4-foot rear yard setback variance and a 4-foot side yard setback variance on the property located at 206 Galen Drive. The testimony has been presented in the public hearing that has shown that the granting of this variance meets the criteria set for the Article 4, Section 406 of the zoning ordinance and KRS 100.243.
Okay. Go ahead.
Mr. Wingfield, if I might suggest that you add that our ordinance permits variances where there's an exceptional situation on the property that justifies it. And here, through ignorance and not intentional dereliction, Mr. Sanders poured a slab in the corner, which set the grounds for the property. And furthermore, that other properties in the vicinity push their accessory buildings to the rear of the lot. So that shows that this use would not alter the essential character of the vicinity, and that preventing him from having his shed on that site would be a deprivation of a typical use in that area.
Okay, I agree with that. I didn't want to say ignorance or anything like that, but
Only because you said it.
I would agree. That's why I let you say it. Motion has been made with the amendment. Is there a second?
A second.
Motion has been made and second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item number 3. Armateos Property Group LLC have filed for a conditional use permit application on a tract of land being 0.458 acres located at 25 Cooper Road. Steve?
Yeah. Page 1 in the staff report, we got this application filed on November 4th, 2025. You heard 25 Cooper Road. The zoning district is conservation, and the applicants are proposing to do a short-term rental in the conservation zone. This is the area up on the screen that shows the split there at Lillard's Ferry and Cooper Road, and this is the corner lot right there. This is a shot of the property I took when I put the sign out up there on Cooper Road, just a few feet. This is stepping back down Cooper Road closer towards the intersection a little bit. And this is a zoning map that shows the zone is conservation or CO-1. This is an exhibit that the applicant turned in that shows the dimensions of the house as well as the parking areas being proposed. And it's got some site statistics there and on the exhibit. And I'll go back to the staff report. Page 2 of the staff report is the zoning ordinance references. And again, we're looking at section 721, which is our conservation zone, as well as article 5, section 507, which deals with the overnight accommodations. And those overnight accommodations that we're looking at are short-term rentals. The conditional use permits that are eligible are on page 2, and you can see item E describes short-term rental establishments, whether they be hosted or dedicated. The overnight accommodation standard starts on page 3 of the staff report. The specific use standards that we have in 507 4.B are on 3 and 4 of your staff report. You guys see these mostly every month, so you're very familiar with the standards. The item highlighted on page 4 is the unincorporated Woodford County verbiage as opposed to Midway and Versailles, which are different paragraphs. Our definition of short-term rental is on page 5. and it breaks down the difference between dedicated and hosted. And then when we get to page 6 of the staff report, that's where we have conditions of approval referenced in Article 4, Section 407.5. Again, says this board can attach conditions to conditional use permits. And again, the applicant submitted this narrative as well as a pretty detailed narrative on page 7 and 8 of your staff report. The proposed conditions start at the bottom of page 7. They've got a narrative they wrote that you guys probably already read already on kind of how they see their business operating. But the proposed conditions are kind of grouped in general categories and have some subcategories. Those general categories are professional property management, parking and traffic, occupancy limits, noise and conduct, property maintenance and cleanliness, and safety and compliance. And again, there's sub-bullets under those for specific standards as they get into those general topics. Staff items of concern are on page 9. They're just generic suggestions if this is approved that the operator has to get a business license for the facility as well as register with the Woodford County Tourism Commission. Our review and findings for conditional use permits, you just had a prior case on that, are outlined in section 407.4 and 407.5. One is the review criteria and one are the specific findings. And there's a motion on page 11 that our attorney can help you with it when you get to that point. I'll be glad to answer any questions. I don't know if everyone drove out there. This one's pretty good ways out in the county.
Easy now.
Yeah. Nice scenic part of the county.
A mile and a half from my house.
Yeah, you know exactly where it is. Yeah, so when I drove out there and put the sign, pretty familiar with this area. Wasn't familiar with that much rock, trying to put that little yard sign in the ground out there, but it's rocky. But yeah, so the photos are in here if you guys have any questions. The applicants here, and they actually have a separate PowerPoint they may want to go through, and I'll have to jump off this slide and open it up when they get to that, and I'll navigate it as they tell me to. But I think they have more detail to show you. But I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Board members, do you have any questions for Steve? Would the applicant care to address this situation?
Good evening. My name is Ethan Johnson. I'm counsel for Mr. Armenteros and Armenteros Properties. Like you said, he's prepared a PowerPoint that I think is pretty succinct, but to the extent any more time is needed, I guess I can reserve the same. But yeah, Carlos has a presentation for you all.
Hello, my name is Carlos Armenteros. I'm the owner of Armenteros Property Group, local company, 5 employees, small town from Georgetown, Kentucky. And we own and operate 52 properties right now between Central Kentucky and Red River Gorge. So we are today requesting a conditional use permit for the property located at 25 Cooper Road.
Can you just tell me what you need
to do? Oh, thank you, yeah. So if you guys are willing to walk through it real quick, just to give you a background on the company a little bit, and then some of the things that we do, that way you guys feel comfortable with your decision when you make it to there, okay? So like I said, we're a small company. We have 32 long-term rentals, 20 short-term rentals, most of them in Georgetown, Kentucky. This will be the first one in Versailles. We also have Lexington and Harrisburg, and quite a few at the Red River Gorge. Out of those, 20 short-term rentals, and then 32 long-term rentals, obviously. So what we love to do, we like to take properties that are distressed, make it nice, make it pretty, and shine it again, and rent it out to either a long-term rental or short-term rental. So we saw an opportunity at 25 Cooper Road, which was in very bad shape, and we took the leap of faith on that one, so we decided to renovate it, and we're in the process of that at the moment. So we have strong track record. We show you a couple things here where you see it, but we have experience on that, on the renovation part, and obviously managing the properties, and we'll show you here in a little bit. So I try to go this quickly. I only have 3 minutes, so I try to go as quick as I can on this thing. So next one, please. So right now, between our 20 short-term rentals this year, we saw 4,000 guests, and our rating is actually a 4.95 review, which is pretty outstanding for what we do. With good track record with the neighbors, we're actually really good at making relations with them. We make sure that everybody's happy. We have no complaint on that. And we have 25% of those guests actually come back and repeat customers every year with us. So they take really good care of our properties, and we take really good care of them. So we like those repeat customers. So our proposal today is actually asking for a conditional use permit. The purpose is to host horse industry guests, medical industry, and then the Bourbon Trail as well. We believe we might get about 135 guests per year. The reason we know that is because the people that stay at the Georgetown properties, they always ask us to stay here at Versailles. We don't have any property here. They would love to stay here. They love the town, they love the community, so they would love to stay here. So we believe that out of the 25% that come back, a big percentage of those guys will come here and stay here at this property if this permit goes through. So we would be very excited to have that. The next one, so I put a couple slides with the benefit of the community. Obviously, one of the biggest thing here is that we took a property that was abandoned. If you're familiar with the property, there were rats, there were mice, there were snakes, there was all kinds of stuff going through that property. It's abandoned, which I was surprised that wasn't even condemned at that point. So we took the property, we tried to upgrade it and make it nicer. So it's going to bring more tax revenue to the city, to the county per se. Obviously, we believe the property value right now in the PVA shows $45,000. We believe when we're done with the renovation, it should be around $290,000, give or take, when we're done with it. So we're making it nice, and you will see some of the properties that we have done before, so I'll give you an experience of what we do here. And obviously, we do manage the property professionally. We have experience. We've been doing that for 13 years now, so we have really good relationship with the neighbors, with the community, and we try to make sure that we boost the economy, for the local economy, if you will. If you look at the properties that we have in Georgetown, we have a relationship with the local restaurants to make sure that we have connection with them and make sure that they get discounts on the property they stay at us, and the same thing at the Gorge. So Georgetown, we have really good connection with local feed, and then in Red River Gorge, we have good connection with Totes, and they do really good work, and we get a lot of guests back and forth from the properties to make sure that they actually consume and spend some money in the local community. So we take pride of that. So next, please.
Okay, sorry.
So here's how the property looked like when we got it. Obviously, you can see it was in pretty bad shape. The roof was toast. The windows were messed up. The siding was in really bad shape. And again, we had all kinds of like pests, and we had all kinds of like animals going through it. So it was in very bad shape. The plumbing and the electrical was shut. No bathrooms, no kitchens, and there was no HVAC system on it. So we'll show you a couple pictures of what it would look like now. As you can see, we actually put some new siding on the property already. We put new roof on it, new windows, new concrete pads all the way around it. So we put in a lot of money into it. That's on the outside. If we go to the next slide, you will see the inside. You see we already painted some of the inside as well. You see some of the quality of the bathrooms that we're doing. There's our walk-in showers that we're doing. Very high-end, which should attract high-end guests to our property. So, and then the next slides that we have, just to give you an idea of how we do with the guests that we have right now. The first screenshot on the left is actually our Airbnb right now, the moment profile. We have 782 reviews, 4.95 star rating. And if you're in the hospitality industry, you know how hard that is. So that's a very good achievement on that end. So I'm proud of our team and the people that work with us. And I don't think I mentioned this before, but we have 5 people that work in our team. And we also have 35 local families that depends on our business, directly and indirectly from that, through contractors, people that clean the property, people that actually manage the property. So we take a lot of pride on the jobs that we create in local communities as we go in. So if you look at Google, 5-star reviews on Google as well. So and Google, Google is very tricky because actually in Google any neighbor will be able to actually go in there and put any bad reviews or anything like that. We have none of that. We take really good care of our neighbors. We make sure they're taken care of. If there's any concerns, we address those right on the spot because we believe we're part of the community. Like I said, we mostly in Georgetown, Kentucky. We would love to be right here in Versailles because it's a great opportunity here, not only mostly for the community per se. So next slide, please. And then the next one is a VRBO. We're our premier host there. It's one of those nice things that you can get if you're a really good host. And the right side, you see a direct website. That's where people can go in there and book directly. And you can see the reviews there. They're all 5. So we take a lot of pride in what we do. Next, please. And then, so if you go back, so this is some of the properties that we have done. All these properties you see here, they were distressed. So Georgetown, we have a good relationship with the city over there. They've been very happy. Most of these properties have a homeless situation in there, so we go in there and fix them up. You can see the quality of the work that we do. This property is located in Georgetown, Kentucky, close to the college. A lot of people go in there. This one specifically actually ranked 1% on the top 1% in Kentucky. So it's a very high achievement, and it actually talks about how our team manages the properties, how well we take care of our guests. So the next one is actually similar idea. This property even have holes in the roof and everything else. So we went in and fixed it. We got actually a pickleball court on the back, a basketball court on the back, and it's a big hit with the people staying over there for Georgetown College and everything else. So that's the first one we opened back 4 years ago, the first short-term rental, and still does pretty good. It's actually in Georgetown as well. 4.96 star review with 167. So if you're familiar with the industry, that's really, really high standard in the things that we do. So we pretty proud of that. And then the last one, I just wanted to show you one of the properties that we had in the Gorge, just to give an idea of the kind of work that we do and how we actually upgrade the community as we go in. This is a barndominium, hosts 16 people, and it's a big hit for corporate gatherings and everything else. So we love that one as well. So this we can just go quickly some of the reviews that we got. That was the last 4 reviews. You can see there, everybody's happy with it. We're happy with it. We go above and beyond for our guests and our community. If somebody calls and needs a pillow in the middle of the night, we're there to deliver that. And most of the travelers that come and stay with us, they're just families. Families that have, 3, 4 kids that come stay. They spend that week over there, and they just want to spend some time, enjoy the city, enjoy the town. We don't get any really party or anything like that because our prices are pretty high. We try to make sure that we stay away from those guys. So, and that's all we have. I just want to make sure you guys knew who you're dealing with before you make a decision, and make sure you feel comfortable about that. So, I'm open for questions if you have anything. So,
board members, do you have any questions?
In the past, one of the conditions we've added is that the main individual renting the property must be at least 25 years of age. Is that something you have an issue with?
Yeah, no, we don't. We actually require that. The person booking needs to be 25 and above. So,
okay.
Because that really minimizes the partying situation. At the Gorge you see there, we did have a party at one point, and since then we addressed that. That was the first guest that we got there and destroyed the property. So we learned our lesson on that one, yeah. So we're okay with that.
Any other questions?
How many bedrooms?
So that one will have 4 bedroom, 2 bath.
All right. I see that you've shown 2 driveway parking spots. Are there other places to park cars on the property?
So it is big enough to park actually 2 back to back in there. So you have 2 and 2.
Okay.
But if you want to minimize it to only 2, that's fine too. We can address that as well if you
I
need
was
to.
just reading your plan, but we need to have a parking spot for each guest room, and so it sounds like you can park 4 cars.
Yes, we can. Yes, absolutely.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We'll open it up to any other comments. Does anyone care to speak to this issue in the crowd? Yeah, you got to do it too.
I'm Paige Foster, and we own the farm behind, off Cooper Road, that driveway. And I'm thrilled that the house has been renovated. It looks great. And we're not opposed to that. My only main concern is that there's only one way in and out that I have to get out of there, and the parking was our main concern. That it's a one lane road,
right,
going in and out. You can't pass. So, and I go to work at 5:45, so I didn't want to be blocked in. I don't know what you can do about that.
Well,
but
is
just
that
to be aware that's our only exit.
That is a public road, correct?
Yeah, it's a county road.
That is a single lane road. So if they wouldn't, we can probably add in no on-street parking.
Yeah.
Everything have to be up. That way your road will always be clear and you say you have enough room for the cars.
Yes, sir.
And that's also a bit of a safety issue for the fire department, and anybody else that may need to get back in there. So we can address that. It's all right. Any other comments, questions? I figured you were here for something.
Hey, my name is Melvin Montgomery, Chief of Woodford County Fire. In some of the pictures he posted there of, I guess maybe in Georgetown or wherever, he had fire pits out there. And I'm just not sure he's aware of our, the rules for Woodford County, that even if it's a fire pit, it has to be called in that they're burning. When they light, before they light, and when it goes out, they're to call our dispatch so they can record that. And somebody's driving down the road and sees that they're not calling us, and we're running up and down the road for somebody that's got a control burn. So that's about my only concern would be in that area and where it could be seen from Lillard's Ferry also, that it would be an issue. Somebody call it the house is on fire, woods are on fire.
Okay. And that is within the county ordinances?
Yes.
Okay. Which they have to abide by anyway. But I think we can go ahead and put that in there. I know that feeling.
Thank you, I didn't know that, so thank you.
Are there any other questions? Hearing, seeing none, we will close this hearing and seek a motion to approve or deny this conditional use. When we make the motion, if it's up, please include those two conditions: no on-street parking, and to call in the fire pit if they're burning a fire pit before and after.
Okay.
So we will seek a motion to approve or deny this conditional use permit.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the conditional use permit request. I'll make the motion to approve for a short-term rental establishment in an existing structure located at 25 Cooper Road, along with the applicants and board's agreed upon property conditions. The testimony presented in the public hearing has shown that the use does meet the requirements of the zoning ordinance. Also, we were talking about age 25. Did you agree with that? And no on-street parking, and call dispatch for fire pits.
Motion has been made.
Mr. Wakefield, the applicant gave us quite a bit in the ways of justifications. Here, I'll just run down a few of them, that this is an experienced operator. The applicant ownership of the property marks renovation and turnaround of a distressed property. That applicant testimony spoke to cultivated relationships with local businesses. That there was testimony about the demand for Woodford lodging based on statements from the applicant's businesses' existing customers. And then we also have to make a finding, and I think it's justified, that the number of guest rooms will not detrimentally affect the surrounding area.
Okay.
Added that to the motion. Motion is made. Is there a second?
A second.
Motion has been made and second. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. One more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
All right.
I got a question for how you